What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandel. I'm coming to you live today from Woolly Studios in Delray Beach, Florida. I have a very special treat for you all today. You know, she's not just attractive, beautiful, witty, sharp, clever. This is a woman that broke the bank right online, media sales. How many out there can you say sold billions of dollars worth? Come on now. I want you all to welcome the amazing, the incomparable Forbes Riley.
I'm going to have you do that every morning. I'm just going to record that. I'm going to wake up to the incomparable Forbes Riley. That will so make my day, Rox. Nice to see you.
It's so nice to meet you. It's our first time speaking and meeting, so it's very exciting for me. And everything I said was true. You're a spectacular woman who's had a spectacular career, and I want to get to it so we really understand who the people that don't know you. Who is Forbes Riley? I'm going to tell you very candidly, I did not know of you. And I asked 3 people, all separate and apart, and these are serious people. And they said, of course, Forbes Riley, yes. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wow, all right, I better tighten up, man. You know, shame on me. So let's dial. I like to go back in time because, listen, at the end of the day, you're just a gal. You're just a woman, right? We're all just human beings. Where were you born, and what was early life like as you were growing up, so forth? Where, how, etc.
All right. So born in Brooklyn, New York.
Me too.
Come on, seriously, I know that's how we have this connection. I have this energy, this attitude. I'm definitely a New Yorker at my heart. And if you get me a little tired, I will be talking like this because I got to say, I got some stories about Long Island. And I led a dream. I absolutely led a dream. I was a little girl born to 2 second generation Ukrainian immigrant parents.
I'm Ukrainian.
Mom from the Are you? Are we like brother from another mother?
And I grew up born in Brooklyn, grew up on Long Island. Isn't that
where Long Island?
5 towns. I went to Lawrence High School, South Shore.
So did the other rich kids. I went to Oceanside. Go ahead.
Okay, I bought a house in Atlantic Beach for my wife as a wedding present. I bought a house, 5-bedroom house on the sand in the Water Club, right on the border of Atlantic Beach and Long Beach.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And this is what New Yorkers will do. We will sit down and we'll do this. We'll do this Jewish geography.
Crazy.
And we do. We love it. We love it. We love who we are. We love where we came from. Growing up in the 60s was a very cool environment there. But I will tell you, I had some interesting issues. So let me set the stage for you. My dad was an inventor. He was an engineer who never graduated college, who built printing presses, and he was a magician.
Wow.
He led a very introverted life, but very magical. And I was the oldest child. I got all of that. I mean, I got my private pilot's license when I was 15, even though we didn't have money, because my dad said to my mother, he loved flying. My first child was going to fly.
Wow.
I know. So, but because everything in my life was that magical. However, I had massive limitations. And, only because I've now come to speak about my life do I understand what's happened. And I'm going to share my screen real quick. Let's see if I can just show you this because it fills in a gap of the story. Can you see that, my dad? So that was my father, first guy to put me up on a pedestal.
I love it.
But what I discovered is that when I went to school, my teeth were all in different directions. Interesting issue. My mother was a hoarder. She saved my mouth impression, Ross, from 1968. Can I tell you?
I love it. I love it.
All different directions. And I think my parents did the best they could. They introduced me from the orthodontist from hell, who put me in a full set of braces at 8. Now, everyone's got braces, right?
Yes.
But not for 18, or not for 8 years.
No.
8, right. So you're this little kid, you want to be pretty, and then they bolt this thing to my mouth.
Oy.
And now for 2 years of my life, I can't talk. I'm a real kid who can't talk. And I've come to understand my yearning and my need for communication came out of that. But then it got worse. I was not very attractive. I ran into a baseball bat. I'd broken my nose and no one ever fixed it. So I had a very big crooked nose on my face.
Oh, my God.
I had frizzy hair. I'm overweight. My mother would feed us with food. And I'm talking about this. And I'm also really smart, top of my class. Least I had 0 friends. I spent a lot of time watching movies, spending time with my dad. And I will tell you, it changed everything. It's a very different, unique way to grow up. He built that printing press. But then when I was 14 and a half years old, he slipped, caught his hand in the printing press, ripped off the front of his palm.
Oh, my God.
Spent 3 years, my entire high school, in the hospital. So there I am, this rather ugly, awkward little girl And my mother turns to me and she says, kiddo, we have no money for college, which was the only dream that I really had aside from being an actress, because I just wanted to be glamorous and walk the red carpet. And here's what happened.
Wow.
Before I show that, okay, but before I show that picture, she says to me very naively, there is a scholarship. The Miss Teenage America pageant with Bob Hope on NBC is giving out a scholarship. They're coming to our town for auditions. She looks at my face, Ross, and she says, well, that's not going to work for us. Well, the funny thing about that statement is that my dad's doctor overheard it and offered to fix my nose for free. He said, your family's been through so much. Let me do this for you guys.
What a nice guy.
He thought, well, you got to understand, it was bad. 3 years in the hospital. They tried to rebuild my dad's hand 15 different ways. They did all kind of crazy stuff. And so when I woke up from the little nose job at 15, this beautiful girl looked back at me and something happened. We became partners. She said to me, look, go for it. And I've heard that a lot in my life. Go for what? Go for a beauty pageant? You hate beauty pageants. But there's a scholarship you can say to your family. And so I got a hand-me-down bridesmaid's dress. By the way, this is the doctor or what I think he might have looked like. And I talk about telling your dreams out loud because I wore that dress. I entered the Miss Teenage America pageant at the Sunrise Mall. Remember Sunrise Mall?
Of course.
All right, 1976. I don't know where you were, but I'm on stage right there.
I was 19.
All right, I'm 16 right there. And I won. I was Miss Teenage New York. All of a sudden, this ugly, awkward girl that no one paid any attention to is on TV with freaking Bob Hope. And I was smart enough to get a selfie with him because who did that back in the 70s, right?
Exactly.
I got a scholarship and it changed everything because I went off to college and there I am with my mom graduating. And if you notice, my mom was always 260 pounds my whole life. I love this woman, but I vowed never to be this woman. I am now 20 years older right now than she is in that photograph. And I look very different.
Wow.
And then I decided, you know what? I can build my life because no one's giving it to me. And I've been a scrappy little fighter my whole entire life, and I became Forbes Riley. And Forbes Riley has on Broadway and done movies, and it's been an absolutely spectacular, I just want to make sure I stop this sharing, a spectacular journey that I wrote. And I remember when I was 20 years old, I just graduated college with 2 degrees in 3 years.
What college? Where'd you go to college?
University of Rochester.
Okay.
Well, here's the funny thing, because I spent so much time at the hospital, I didn't have a lot of extracurricular activities. Right. So I applied to Harvard and Yale and Princeton because I'm like, I could do Ivy League. I didn't get into any of those. I was number 23 out of 980 kids.
Wow.
I should have qualified for this. But I'll tell you what, the life lessons along the way, I'll share one with you. I get to the University of Rochester. I don't know what kind of school it is. I know it's a private school. It's expensive. And I'm sitting in a room, poli-sci 101, with hundreds of kids, right? That blue book thing you used to take.
Yep.
And I did the blue book test and I got every answer right. Of course I did. That's what I did in school. I got things right. I opened the book, Ross, and there's a big red C. And I'm like, what the fuck? I go down to the Professor Regenstreif, and I knock on his door and I'm like, hey, I think there might be a problem. He's like, what's the problem? I said, I got a C, and every answer in this book is right. And he sat me down and gave me one of the first best lessons of my entire life. He said, welcome to the University of Rochester. Every kid here is going to go to an Ivy League grad school because they missed out on Ivy League undergrad. It's weirdly competitive here. And so we mark on a bell curve. If you got every answer right, you get a C. And I'm like, the fuck, really? And then I said the question that changed everything for me. What does it take to get an A? And he simply said, see that reading list at the bottom? Do everything that no one else is willing to do to get everything that no one else is willing to get.
That's what winners do. We do what the other guys won't. That's part of my that's a tagline for Ross Mandel. We do what the other guys won't. We do what it takes.
Right.
Whatever it is.
And that is
whatever it is.
Whatever it is, right? Well, it's funny because I built an entire... So one of the crazy things that I did, and I can't wait to watch the movie of my life. So I decided during college, the second lesson happened in college. The only 2 things I learned, couple $100,000 education, I got 2 lessons, but they were life informing. Because when I was in high school, as this ugly, goofy kid, I would always audition for every play. We did 6 plays and musicals every year. And you know what role I got? Chorus and townsperson number 3. I'm not even in the set. And I used to watch the 2 girls who got the leads, Renee Polina and Ann Casapini, and they were beautiful. I took them to dinner not long ago because I was obsessed.
I love it.
I always got nothing. I go to the call board and there my name was at the bottom. So senior year of college, they're doing Shakespeare's As You Like It. And I auditioned like I always audition. And I go to the call board expecting to see townsperson number 3, and I'm not there. And I had this moment that a lot of people do where they doubt who they are because they're not being
I
validated.
got it.
I haven't changed. I'm always the same person, but I wasn't even there. And I thought, man, am I not good enough to even get this is really, this just sucks. And then I looked to see who got the lead. And there was my name.
Oh boy.
And it was like, so I went to the professor once again, David Richmond, and I said, hey, did you make a mistake? Because no one's, I don't even know if I can do Shakespeare. It's 2.5-hour play. She's on stage the entire time. And he sat me down and he said, look, you're my ideal, Rosal. You are that scrappy, manipulative. You got this story, you got this heart. And the other thing, just to put a button on this, is that I was always obsessed with how ugly I looked when I was younger, like really annoyingly obsessed. I just wanted to be Marsha Brady. And Professor Richmond sat me down and said all these amazing things that only I ever felt about myself, the truth. And you know what was cool about him? He was 100% legally blind.
Wow.
He couldn't see any of the shit that anyone always saw. And so the first man to see me couldn't physically, but emotionally see me. And based on that, I called my mom and dad and said, I love you guys very much. I'm not going to be a lawyer. This one guy believes in me. I'm going to New York City to be an actress. And you should have heard the quiet on the phone. It was like, wow, we can't help you. And I'm like, I don't need your help. I had this vision. I'm going to be just fine. And I with that little Mary Tyler Moore, moved to New York City without an idea what the hell I was going to do. I've the last 45 years, I've written the most amazing career that is on Broadway, starting businesses, traveling around the world. And I did it all by myself because I wanted to. And then beyond that, at some point, when I would get chased around desks, because I was pretty cute at some point, by agents and things, I didn't know about the Me Too movement. I needed an agent. And I'm like, and again, my mechanical brain put all this together. And so I figured out how agents and casting directors found talent. I created my own agency called Creative Management for Artists.
I love it.
I hired a woman, Lindsay Maxwell. And Lindsay was British. And Lindsay loved Forbes Riley. Oh my God. She was just the most wonderful actress. She's a Miss. I was Lindsay. I was Lindsay for 2.5 years. I was my own Lindsay.
You shyster.
And no one. Yes.
I love it.
I got a Broadway show with Christopher Reeve on my own.
All right, so tell us now. So you get out of University of Rochester. You moved right into Manhattan?
Yep.
Okay.
I moved to a tiny little 400 square little rental where the kitchen and the bedroom and the bathroom were all in the same little block. And you know what? It's a crazy story because, and I have beautiful moments to this. I auditioned. I got things right away. I'm pretty talented, apparently. And I did get this Broadway show up with Christopher Reeve. I even ended up dating Neil Simon, which is for another day. When you and I have 2.5 hours and a cup of coffee, I will tell you some stories that are crazy. But then I did something that I'm going to really bring out to the world that I never shared. It was 1983, and the actor strike had hit. And I had 2 very creative friends. One was a stand-up comedian and an actor, very goofy kind of Paul Rudd guy. And the other was like a George Clooney, gorgeous guy who used to manage strippers. And one day they came to me and said, we got this goofy idea called strippergram. And I'm like, okay. Because I was a dancer, but I was never really that good. But when you're a dancer, you just don't really care. I never had a great body. I never had boobs. I was always a little overweight. That my entire career, everyone criticized how much overweight I was. I'm on a soap opera. I'm on As the World Turns, right? Do you think this mouse looks, do you think this mouse looks fat? No, this mouse looks like a mouse, right? But if you put a mouse next to a pen, the mouse looks fat.
Okay.
Well, I was like, wait, I'm standing next to Julianne Moore, Meg Ryan on this soap opera.
I get it 100%. I get it.
And I to go to Overeaters Anonymous. I'm made to feel bad about my body. So much shaming back then that I will tell you, it definitely messed with my head.
I bet it did.
But yeah,
and fools, women are so tough on women. They're so catty and they're so competitive and they act sweet.
Well, wait a sec. See, now, Ross, that's not our fault. We are trained,
of course,
to be. Where's the last time you saw a man in a bikini beauty pageant? They don't do that. They go off and they play football and soccer. They're taught how to build a team. I mean, it's ironic that all my mentors have been football players.
I get it.
My ex-husband, full Notre Dame. Joe Theismann, the NFL superstar, is my speaking coach.
Wow.
And I looked at I did an infomercial with him. I'm his only client. He's never coached anybody, but he's a brilliant speaker. And I'm like, Your mentality of team and coordination is different than me wearing lipstick, eyelashes, and trying to push up my boobs to look better than some other girl. So we train our women to do this. And then we as men and women, we judge you. Oh, your body's not this.
Right.
That system is so flawed.
I get it.
And it does.
I feel like it is evolving, and I feel like women like you stand out as a shining beacon. And that's why we're so happy to have you, because my whole platform is about elevating people and elevating important people, because I've always been considered a disruptor at anything I've ever done in my life, because I have a little bit of you in me, and I was a disruptor on Wall Street, and I got punished for it by the government. And everybody thought, I did something wrong. And now all of a sudden, everybody's watching what the government, the DOJ, the New York prosecutors, it did to a former president and a billionaire. I mean, he was convicted of 32 counts of felonies. And he's the president of the United States. I'm just saying. So the curtain has been drawn back now, and a lot has been revealed. And so I'm almost been vindicated by my world. And a lot of people that know my case say, what garbage, what horseshit. But you are an example that I could hold to my daughters and say, listen to her. Look what she's accomplished. Watch how she carries herself. Listen to how she speaks. I mean, that is something that I believe, and we're just meeting now for the first time, but I believe that's should be your platform if it's not. You're an advocate for growth and change, and especially for women, because women have been sort of like, you stay home, barefoot, pregnant, do the wash, get me a meal. I'm going to work. I'm an important man. What nonsense that's been revealed to be, right? I mean,
Well, it worked. It worked in the old days when you had to go out and kill a buffalo that was raising you. I
get it too.
But we have definitely, like you said, evolved.
Right.
And I will tell you, the evolution has been spectacular. I just turned 65 last week.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday.
My thought process is, hey, I'm hoping you don't look 65. I'm hoping you only look 45.
I want to tell you this. You look amazing. You have a beautiful smile. Your figure, is to me, it looks amazing. You look great. I mean, this ugly duckling syndrome, but that might have shaped you.
Guys, write this down. Life happens for you, not to you. And Ross knows that better than anybody, because all of the things that you went through, my friend, are why you're an advocate for what you do.
100%.
So I talk about the fact that you're the sum of the obstacles you overcome. Along the journey. So my dad has an accident. I had whatever. I raised a little boy from South Central for 12 years of our life with my former husband, a little darker than my shirt. And 12 years, Dexter was best man at my wedding. I raised him. I had a lot of conversations about race and culture. He was murdered 6 months after my babies were born.
Oh my God.
He was walking from a haircut on a Sunday morning wearing blue, and a kid who wanted to get into a gang who grew up in his neighborhood but didn't know him literally just walked up to my boy and shot him 10 times in the back and left him to die on the sidewalk.
Where did that happen? Where? What?
Like USC on Hoover Street in Los Angeles.
LA
I lived there for 20
out of control. Wow. Are you
but
currently married?
You know what? I am, and I will tell you, to my second most amazing, you have not seen my husband, then I'm going to say if you see that, because one of the things that happened, and I'm a big believer in manifesting and crafting what you want.
Yep.
And at some point, I said, I want the most amazing man who is also super fit, super fun, and doesn't put me down. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of him. So, Ross, I play a little game. If you don't say wow when I show you a picture of my husband, I'll give you $100. That'd be okay. Come on, no, seriously. Come on, take that.
But yeah.
If you don't say wow,
Okay.
ready? Let's share my screen. And this is my husband.
I'm not saying wow just out of principle, but wow.
Wow. And I got to tell you, he is the most amazing, wonderful man in the entire world. And he has decided that I am his special someone. We've been together for 8 years.
Wow.
And he makes because I wrote, when I said I wanted the next part of my life, I was 57 when I met him. I said, I want someone who looks like he walked off the cover of a romance novel. What I didn't know, he's also a brilliant photographer, the most supportive man I've ever met, Now, during COVID, he got hit on his motorcycle, and this is what happened to him 5 years
Oh
ago.
my gosh.
He shrunk down to nothing. And the question is, do I still love my man no matter what? Yes. But he said to himself, and this is where I get to the last 8 years of my life, live, sleep, work, and breathe next to a world champion bodybuilder. He said, I'm going back because he hadn't won the Mr. Universe yet. And so here he is at the Olympia.
Wow.
And then he is at the last year won first place at the Arnold.
Wow.
I know, at Mr. Universe.
Yep.
And this is a selfie that he took. He's also a photographer and my best friend in the entire world.
What, God, but unfortunately, fellas, she's off the market. I mean, we were all sort of hoping maybe you were available, but wow is the word. I get it now. And, I have a feeling he's just as beautiful on the inside as he is on the outside.
No.
Okay.
He's more
even more beautiful.
Boss, you've never met. Here's what's beautiful about the relationship too. Given how he looks, you think that he's all about the spotlight. Because I told my kids, I said, don't ever date a bodybuilder, a fitness model. By the way, I've been on Home Shocking for 30 years, selling fitness products. In fact, one of the most famous fitness products. This is how we met. I met him in my hotel room. You want to talk about a great story? How did you meet Juvenile, a 3D graphic artist, an amazing, in my hotel room? Well, guys, 14 years ago, I created a thing called the SpinGym.
The SpinGym.
And I took it on Home Shocking.
Tell us about the product, first of all. It's a big product in your life.
It's the biggest. And what's ironic, well, it's not the biggest, because the biggest would have to be the Jack LaLanne juicer. With the Jack LaLanne juicer, did you get a Jack LaLanne juicer, brother?
I might have.
You ever own one? Yeah, we sold $1 billion worth of those.
Say that again. Say that again.
I sold $1 billion worth of a juicer. Hey, all right, let me fast track. Okay, let me go back real quick. I do this to become an actress. I end up in lots of movies and television. I end up doing stand-up comedy. I end up touring around the country, doing a stand-up comedy show at ski resorts. It turns into me hosting, I don't know if you know this, hosting the premiere of the X Games.
I did not know that. Wow.
Dude, I could sit here and play video for you all day long because it has been the most amazing journey. And when I got that particular show, I had been acting in television. I kind of have a short haircut. People always thought I was a reporter. And I also did this stand-up comedy thing at ski resorts, sponsored by Jose Cuervo Tequila. I know this sounds a little crazy. Wait, what is she talking about? But because we did all of these, people thought that I was way more sports-oriented than I am. And when they offered me, it's just funny. If you put yourself in the right place enough and just keep moving forward, life happens.
100%.
You don't necessarily can't predict how it's going to happen. And for somebody who's really not much into sports, check this out. And hopefully you remember this. Remember Stuart Scott?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Yep. Well, okay. So here's the deal. I do this little comedy thing at ski resorts for years. And one day, ESPN2 came to make a little half-hour special out of what we were doing because it was so outrageous. The following year, I get a phone call, and it's the ESPN lawyers. And they're like, hey, can we offer you $75,000 for 2 weeks to host the X Games? And I'm like, who is this? What a joke is this? No, we have a piece of videotape of you, and we really want to offer this to you. So I know that you've probably not seen this. We go to this screen right here, and you're going to remember Stuart, right?
Yep.
Serious competitors should leave as much sweat on the playing field as anyone. Well, for over 400 athletes from 6 continents, this is it. And on this show, every night except Wednesday, a review of the day's best and a look ahead to the next day. Sharing in on the fun, my Extreme Games partner in crime, Forbes Riley. Oh, Forbes.
Hey, Stuart, believe it or not, this place was not just constructed for the Extreme Games.
I ended up doing that job for 6 years. And here's the crazy thing about that, you guys. I kept thinking they were going to fire me because this is live television doing sports. I don't know anything about sports. It's a wonderful long story. You'll have to come watch the entire show that we do.
I love it.
I needed to come show about this because some of it is so fantastical that how did all these opportunities happen? But when you are someone like me, I've concluded, though, over the years, what I wanted. That was, by the way, 1995. So I have a lot of time under my belt doing this. And then what happened is that Body by Jake came along. And this changed everything. You know, when you're an actor, you walk into situations that can change your life. Most people don't go on a job interview every day. I would go on job interviews 4 times a day for movies, for soap operas, for commercials. And one day I walk into a room, there's a pen on the desk, and it said, sell me this pen. Well, when you're somebody who doesn't go with money, you don't like the word sell at all. So I kind of made a joke out of it. I said, funny thing about pens. When I was a kid, Well, actually, I got to college at 15 and I was really nervous. I moved away from home and my mother, God bless her, would write longhand notes every day. I would race to the mailbox to get them just so I could feel safe. And I realized a pen like this can reach out and touch somebody's heart. Well, Jake, a body by Jake, comes around the corner, grabs my face, and says, "You're going to make me a lot of money." I don't really know what that means at that moment. He had an idea. You remember when there were 7 channels on network TV?
Of course.
And then one day there were
Yeah,
500.
I remember when there was 3 and they were all in black and white. I was born in 57.
All right, so you totally get
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Well, Jake had a vision. He's also a New Yorker for the idea that you could sell fitness on television. This
right.
is pre QVC, pre HSN, pre TikTok. Nobody was selling anything but traditional.
I remember this well, just so you know.
Yeah, and so this is what happened. He said, "You're this amazing pitcher," to which I said, "I don't even know what you're talking about." Turns out it is my superpower, okay? And so this is what happened out of that. And you may remember this.
Now get ready for the latest in sports, fashion, and exercise gear on Fitness Plus.
Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and today we've got a great product for you. Take a look at this.
Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and backed by popular demand, the best way to develop rock-hard abdominals. Hi, I'm Forbes.
So all of those episodes, literally, Ross is the craziest thing. They would give me a product, and I would magically know how to pitch it to television. And I did 15 minutes, and he had a network. It ran 24 hours a day. I was on the last 15 minutes of every hour. At some point, Jake decides to sell this network to Fox for $500 million in 1993.
Wow.
At that moment, infomercials happen. How many girls are there who can talk and pitch on camera? There's one. And everybody hired me. And I'm scared, but they hired me as the girl. So now I'm standing next to Billy Mays and Tony Little. And, it wasn't until like Suzanne Summers broke through and said a female can pitch on television.
Exactly.
Yep, I know. I was there as people were literally writing history. Tammy Lee Webb was doing workouts. Denise Austin was coming on the scene. And then HSN and QVC both launched. And I found a home for 32 years.
32 years with HSN.
Well, QVC for 15. And I was selling fitness products. And then I didn't want to sell fitness anymore because I'm not, this is the irony. I'm not that fit. I'm not a fitness girl. I can just understand why a product works and why you would want it. But the crazy thing about that is that people bought them. They bought it like crazy.
Listen, you're a relatable person. I want you to know that. I see you now. I'm getting to know you. You'll never stop talking if I don't start, interrupting here and there. And you are relatable. You are not threatening. You're not standoffish. And I believe you're probably an incredible salesperson. I have a question for you. 32 years in that. Did you make any money?
Dude, I own shopping centers, Airbnbs, television studio. I not only made money, I made a fortune.
You created wealth.
And I created my 2 kids. Yeah. And then there were a lot of things that I learned along the way. The 2 things I'm just going to share one more. Because you will remember this, and now you'll go, wait a second, I have watched her my whole life. I've been in your bedroom and you just didn't know it.
Don't tease me.
Well, bedroom, kitchen, wherever you happen to watch it. Did you remember this? All kidding aside. Wait, here we go. Tell me that you remember this show.
Pleasure to introduce to you a couple of living, breathing testimonials to the wonders of juicing, Elaine and Jack LaLanne.
100%. I did have that juicer. I buy everything. I'm one of those types that just impulsively buys things.
Well, I love.
Yeah.
The interesting thing for me is though I still just wanted to be an actress. In fact, I have a movie coming out next month, an action-packed Western martial arts film. I'm the bad girl in it. And I love that. And one of the things that I learned is you cannot ride 2 horses at the same time. So Ross, I don't know what you wanted to be when you were going on your career path, but I wanted to be an actor and a host. Right. There I am hosting the Laugh Factory. I got the biggest agent in the world. He had 2 clients. He had me and Ryan Seacrest.
Wow.
Ryan was very specific that he only wanted to host. I confused people because I loved hosting, but I also loved acting and I loved this and I just didn't want to settle down and do one. I now understand because I'm a motivational speaker. I speak on stages from corporations to 10,000 people. I did 10X. I've literally blown this part of my career up.
I love it.
But it comes down to a word. And I said this word all along, but nobody understood it until now. And it had to do with communication. Because I couldn't talk very well when I was younger and I watched people waste their words, I formulated the idea that I just wanted to be heard. I wanted to
I get
communicate.
that.
And, but I also had a lot of insecurities throughout my life for a lot of different
I'm
reasons.
sure you did.
And attracted a narcissistic partner for a while who put me down, and I thrived anyway. I also raised two kids, a set of twins. And the button to this story, because I don't want to run out of time before seeing this, is that my daughter, who was my right arm when she was like 8 to 10 years old, I would take her to sets, I would take her to infomercial studios with me, and she watched. She watched a couple of things. She watched her mom be successful, but she watched her mom fight her demons of insecurity, and she watched people take advantage of me. And she found herself saying, I'm not going to let that happen to my mom.
Wow.
And I know. Wait till you meet McKenna Riley. You're going to want her on your
I
show.
would love that. What does she do for, what did she end up doing for a living?
Well, hang on a second. 17, she comes downstairs during COVID and she says, Mom, what are you doing? And I'm like, Facebook? She's like, my mom's not doing anything. What's this? And she said to me, she's 17. She said, I'm going to make you $1 million. Let me put your ability to pitch. Let's make trainings and courses. I'll put you online. And I was like, oh, honey, that's so sweet. She's like, Mom, you don't get it. I started coding when I was 12 years old. I am currently working with your friends like Les Brown and Joe Theismann. I'm building their landing pages. I'm building their YouTube channel. And Mom, here's my bank account. I have over $100,000. I'm like, you have $100,000? Where did you get money like that? She said, Mom, they pay me. You're the only one who doesn't believe I can do this.
Wow.
And it's not fair because she's my kid. She's a little girl. What do I know, right? We spent 3 weeks in a room formulating what I do. This whole pitching thing that I really nailed down. I said, Mom, there's a formula to what you do and you can teach it. Ross, I go on a webinar. We're all in lockdown, right? 25 people come on. I don't even teach. I've been teaching my whole life, but I created a $1,000 training that you could take with me for a month on how. We had 25 people. Now, I've been using this little ClickFunnels thing for a year, never made any money, paid every month for the service. I called her the next morning after the webinar. I said, baby, help me understand this. I had zero in the account. What does the K stand for? Because it says there's 25K in our account. She's like, Mom, you sold everybody in the room a $1,000 product. You made $25,000 in 2.5 hours. I did that 4 times in 1 month, mid-2020, and made my first 100,000. In 9 months, she and I got what's called a 2 Comma Club Award because one of our funnels grossed $1 million.
Wow.
She is the CEO of my company.
I love it.
She will not ever go to college. She doesn't need to. She has 16 people who work around the world. She just went on a little tour with her laptop to Croatia and Ireland and Scotland and France to meet her team members. And then she opened a second business with her brother called GSD, stands for Get Shit Done.
I love it.
Because she thought her mom was the only one who couldn't figure out how to get her stuff on the internet. And now she's got clients like it's insane.
Well, for a woman like you, with what the good Lord has blessed you with, the sum total of all your experiences, obstacles, issues, insecurities, your victories, your conquests, your wins, this social media world is so perfect for you. My God, plugging you into TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. My God, the monies that nobody's are making, that have never really done anything in the real world. People like yourself and myself have made hundreds of millions of dollars in the real world and created huge value and got, on newspapers, television, magazines, all this kind of thing. And all of a sudden, people are telling me, I got to do this, I got to do that. Everybody's got to see you, hear you, learn from you, all these things. And I don't really understand the virality of social media. But because of the stock market, I understand the concept of virality and multiplication of effort and result, because that's what I've been doing since 1983 every day. And so it's a perfect segue for people like us that come from a world of 3 channels, PBS and black and white. The biggest thing in my neighborhood was when, Stephen Edelstein's dad got the first color TV on Cliffside Avenue in Northwood, Long Island,
I was 9 years old. I remember because it was the year that they landed on the moon.
Correct.
And Westminster came out in color.
Correct. It's a crazy, my first kiss at Camp Baco in the Adirondacks, So Karen Osterwheel, a little shout out. But it's really, really funny. It's such a privilege to get to know you today. I would love to have your daughter on my podcast. I don't want to have a heart out, an hour late. I want to spend some time because, we're like sort of old cats, right? We sort of conquered the world, but it was a different world. Today, when you post something, the clips that we're making in this little podcast has the ability to be seen for no money by 8 billion people that live on this rock we call Earth. So it's a real, it's almost hard to imagine, because even when you were doing television, how many people are really seeing it, right? Today, I have followers in India, Uzbekistan, Albania. It's a wild, it's the Wild West, as we say, and my team says. We're living in the unregulated television. You got the FCC and the FTC and the censorships and all the nonsense we've lived through over the years as that industry has evolved, right? Because industries evolve, people evolve, or not. Not everybody has that privilege. Forbes, not everybody is Forbes Riley.
Oh, well, let me tell you something. That's the cool thing about my life right now. And I would love to, I know I've got a heart out at noon. I teach a very interesting traumatic healing because I've gone through a couple of things I didn't even realize in my life.
I want to hear about this right now. I want to hear about the trauma and the issues in your adult life as you were out conquering and racking up wins in business and love and all these different things. We want to hear the side of you that wasn't always so amazing, so positive. Didn't have a perfect 10 in your bed every night.
11. Hey, no, I would love to come back and do a part 2 because I'm going to share with you. There's a little bit more to this message that I have not had a chance to, and I don't want to rush through any of this. I'm going to leave you, though, with something I think that's pretty spectacular and crazy. Where are you living right now? Where's home for you?
Boca Raton, Florida.
Okay, so I'm down here in St. Pete. So last year, we go on a spring break vacation with my twins and Joshua, and we're in Iceland. Iceland is like the Disneyland for adults. It's so beautiful with lagoons and waterfalls. It's gorgeous. And when I was a kid and I was stuck in my own little world, I wanted to be James Bond. He was my role model.
Me too.
Are you serious?
Every boy wanted to be I never heard a woman say that before.
Well, that's the difference. And I didn't want to be a Bond girl. I have lived my life that way. I've traveled around the world and I've scuba dived and snow skied and done all the crazy things that Bond did. I'd even gambled in Monaco because it was such a fixation for me.
Me too.
So I know, right? So there we are. I told you, totally brother from another mother. We're in Iceland and we are snowmobiling. Okay. Now this is the craziest thing about this. I wish I could share all of these on photos, but we're literally snowmobiling on top of a glacier. I'm feeling, we're out there and it's majestic and there's no one out there. I'm like, this is that James Bond freaking perfect moment. Don't tempt the universe. We get in the van with 16 people and we're driving back to the hotel. The van hits a patch of ice, goes flying through the air and crashes on my side of the bus. My face goes through the glass. I open my eyes. There's the asphalt. My daughter turns to her brother and says, I think mom might be gone.
Oh
and I heard that. I'm like, no, I'm not here. And we're all bleeding, but we're not dead. And so really, we're not dead. And I know that sounds crazy, but I felt somebody cradle me and said, you're not dead. It's not over.
Oh my God.
I didn't lose my eye. I didn't lose my cheek. I didn't lose my brain. And we're an hour and a half from any hospital too. So anything that major might have happened, we're here, but I did tear my shoulder. And so Joshua turns to me as we're driving home. And the next thing that happens is he said, that's a beautiful sunset. Oh no, the next day, the biggest volcano in Iceland erupts and we're standing right there.
I remember that. Wow.
Right. Pictures of all of this on my Instagram. You guys should come take a look at this. Now, hear all that in here. In January of last year, Joshua and I did a fat scan, a little health thing, right? He comes in at 9% body fat. I have been building a business. I'm in my 60s. And I'm like, how perfect do you need to be, right? I'm coming at 33% body fat and a very, very big number on the scale. And I was a little sad, but not inspired to do anything about it. So we're coming home to the airport and Joshua says, there's a bodybuilding competition in our home in St. Pete that he needs to be in for the Olympia.
Wow.
First time ever. And I'm like, oh, that's so much fun. Good. We don't have to travel. He said, well, there's a category for women over 60. I'm like, oh, good for them. And he looks at me and I'm like, what are you looking at, dude? I don't work out. I haven't been to the gym in 5 years. I do this, but I'm not really working out.
Right.
And then I hear a voice, Ross, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, but something tells me you have. Little Kevin Costner, and it says, go for it. And I'm like, go for what? Last time I heard that voice, I think I was 16 years old. Go for something completely outrageous. And I don't know what came over me. I had 99. I'm going to send you the little feature film I made about this because I went on a mastermind. I've got thousands of people who join me every Wednesday night. And I literally said, with no plan whatsoever, guys, in 99 days, there's a bodybuilding competition for women over 60. You have to wear a bikini and high heels, and I'm going to be in it. Bye. And then I'm on the YouTube going, how the hell, what do you do? And a girlfriend of mine said, oh, I was in one of those competitions. She brings over the bikini. The bikini doesn't fit one leg of me. And I'm like, and then I took this picture. I'm going to share this picture with you. I didn't realize how bad I looked. And this is for everyone in their 60s. Now, you saw Jacqueline earlier. Yep. His wife is now 99. She's still alive. He's passed. When I turned 60, I was at her home. And I was sad. Because when you're young, that's a big old number, right?
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she said, how old do I look on the cover of this book she did? I'm like, she's wearing leg warmers.
Oh, wow. I get it. I
said, you look like you're 45. She said, no, I'm 63. 60s were my best. Don't mess them up. So I know, right? Thank God somebody whispered that in my ear like I'm whispering into your audience. And so I took a picture, and there's me on the left. I'm like, who's the fat, chunky old lady? The girl on the right, that's day 67.
Wow.
Right, I know.
Wow.
It gets better.
I want you to know, I'm going to admit something that I did check you out, and I saw this, and I was blown away.
The before and after, the fact that I got on a stage for 99 days. I went to the gym for those 2 hours. I found 2 hours there. They live between 5 and 7 a.m. every single morning. I did Joshua's weight because you need resistance training. I did hardly any cardio, and I pretty much only ate meat. And I will tell you, I lost 35 pounds, 13% body fat, got on the stage. There's actually Elaine. We did a thing with Elaine and Denise Austin and Tony.
Yep. Wow.
We did that because we celebrated Jack's birthday at the convention. And for the first time, I have a body. I've never had a body before. I like a body that I'm insanely proud of that goes on stage. I'm like, oh my God, look at this chick. That's 60.
It's really unbelievable. I want to ask you a question. How old were you when you started that 99-day journey?
64. It was literally a year ago.
And when you were on the stage in that little bikini with the ribbon and medal around your neck, how old were you?
Dude, this happened last year.
Say the number.
Oh, I was 64 years old.
Ladies, gentlemen, are you listening to this? This is a literal power of example. Stop making excuses. Stop jerking yourself around. Stop lying to yourself. If you want to go for it, you go for it. You can get it done. There is nothing you cannot accomplish in 100 days. You don't know this about me, but my life has been a series of 100-day events. When I decide I want to do something, accomplish something, whatever it is, I start a countdown. I've done this on Facebook, 15 years ago. 100 days. Today's day 100. Here's what I'm doing. I mean, great minds think alike. I'm going to tell you, it's very interesting, this connection. I mean, having never met you before, never spoken to you before, not really knowing anything about you until literally 48 hours ago. And I am blown away that you are, to some extent, sharing my mindset and my story, although I'm not getting on a stage in a Speedo. I'm 68. Although I'm working for it. I am now devoted to it. I want you to know that.
Well, let me tell you something. This could be very funny, Ross. There is some definitely crazy connection. So one of the things, I'm going to make sure that you get a SpinGym because you've never done anything like this. And what would it look like if you said, we're going to get on stage in 100 days? I'm going to tell you, there is such a different level of commitment of your body. When your body reconstitutes, correct, and becomes muscle, not fat, like literally, I have a body back that I don't think I would have ever had moving forward. I see so many women and men in their 50s, 60s, 40s who look old.
Terrible.
Who don't have muscle.
They look terrible.
Josh?
They carry themselves, because you know why? It's all up here. The greatest thing is what Ford once said. If you believe you can, or you believe you can't, you're probably right.
Right, but this is why I have a community now, because you need accountability.
Yes, accountability, correct.
I do want to come back because I want to introduce you to the world of pitching. There's things that you don't know that your audience doesn't know.
I agree.
I know.
I get it.
one of the reasons I have a new book coming out, because I literally have pitch secrets that who else has done 197 infomercials. I've grossed $2.5 billion worth of products.
What? Two and a
I
half
have sold
billion.
a amount of product. Right. So, and by the way, I became my first millionaire at 27. It's kind of a funny thing. Doing singing and stripping telegrams. That's on Wall Street, by the way. I think you and I must have
It's
met.
possible.
Do you remember in New York stripograms?
Are you kidding? Do you know how many stripograms I got and how many I sent?
Well, here's what's really funny. I was co-owner of that company.
Right.
This is what you don't. I'll bet you, because we were the only ones who did that. I stopped Wall Street for 7 minutes. Because I walked out on. I didn't know what Wall Street was. All the yelling and screaming. Right. And you and I can have this conversation. You guys want to hear what stripogram could be about? You need to tune into part 2, because in 4 minutes I'm going to go and teach about 100 people. I'm not teaching. I'm doing a thing called breakthrough. I'll leave you with this: that you do not want to write your future from your past. If you can reorganize how you don't have to. If there's a system,
I get it.
It's not there. There's a way to reorganize, because you just said if you can or you can't, but so many people go, that's nice, Ross, but how?
How? Exactly right.
I haven't. Well, how is going to be part 2?
Well, but I also teach how, but I would love to have you back for a part 2 where we don't have some sort of hard stop. And I would love to have your daughter on, because I feel like, you know, you're the only woman in the world that wants her to be better and more than you. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the beautiful thing about being a parent. I tell my daughters, I have 2 daughters. I say, I'm the only man that you're ever going to meet that wants you to be greater than me and any man. It's just a beautiful thing about being a parent. And if you haven't had that experience, I have a lot of friends that are 67, 68, 69. They have no kids. And it's, I don't really know, you know, that's my life. You know what I mean? I'm about business and family. Everything else is ancillary. You know what I'm saying? It's but we're going to start wrapping this up. What can we expect from you? What else can Forbes Riley? I mean, I don't even know where to go with you. You're so incredible.
So here's what I would love you all to do. On every Sunday since COVID happened, except for this Sunday because it's Mother's Day and I'm celebrating, I go on Zoom.
Okay.
And I teach this pitching training.
Okay.
And I get you to answer the question, I literally can make millionaires like that. So it's live. I charge for it. I'm going to gift it to you and your audience. If you go to www.askforbesriley.com, come see me whatever Sunday you're watching this, because I'm committed. I've been 5 years of every Sunday.
I love it.
Doing live.
I love it.
We have thousands of people who've gone through this. And what it allows you to do is you've got an idea, a product or a service, but something is standing in your way, and it's called a pitch. The reason I started doing this goes back to my dad. I talk about my dad being a magician and an inventor. He had a wacky, crazy garage with all of these inventions. And one day he turns to me, he says, kiddo, how do I get my ideas out to the world? I said, Dad, I have no idea. I'm 8. Well, when he died.
Don't make excuses.
And when he died, you know, the yard sale people bought all of his tools. The garbage men cleaned out his garage and they threw it away. And 2 things happened. One, I realized if you don't get your ideas out before you die, it's too late.
Too late. Right.
And 2, I went to inventor conventions and I put inventors and people who dreamed like my dad, but could you kill your family? Because if you got this wacky dream, and I made them millionaires by putting them on home shopping and putting them on infomercials. And now I do this for entrepreneurs. You don't need to be an inventor. You just need to want to have your dream and make an impact. And I love facilitating that and making it more impactful.
I love it. I mean, you're an amazing woman. This has been a really eye-opening podcast. You have so much to offer, your life experience, your successes, and I'm sure you've had some failures, which we'll get to maybe next time.
Baby, that F word is for.
That's where now, is that your real name, by the way?
Oh, dude, it is a great story, and we don't have time to tell
That's a stage name, Forbes Riley.
Oh, it's not.
It's not?
It's more impactful than that.
You're not like Barbara Schwarzenbach or something?
Well, I'm going to share with you. But you know what? I'm going to so tease your audience because it's literally 11:59. Right. I'm the because people are expecting me. Roz, I'm not allowed to say it in front of Joshua, but I just adore you. I love it. I mean, you are such a gem of a guy on such a mission. And the way we intersect and who you are, I literally felt like I met a brother.
You more than you know. I actually have a brother who was born in 1960. I was born at Brooklyn Jewish Hospital, and everyone was asking my dad, "Who's the Shagets?" Because I had blonde hair and blue eyes, and everybody was dark skinned, etc.
By the way, 100% Jewish. I got a great story to tell you about how my name happened.
Forbes Riley, I was debating. I didn't know, but there's so many layers to you. There's so many layers to you. It's like peeling an onion, but a very large onion with a lot of layers.
On that note, I adore you guys. Go to ForbesRiley.com to find out everything. Check me out on social. I still do my own social. I love doing that, and I got to jump. So till next time, brother.
God bless.